Home Alone 3 through 6. We're going to do all of them. And here's what we're talking about. Public service announcement to all parents. Please, for the love of everything holy, stop leaving your children at home alone.
For anybody who doesn't know, this is a show we have called R Rating. I'm your host, Dan. I'm joined by Brian and Will. We take a movie franchise, break it down by movie, and give it an overall score and throw it up on the board. Now, generally speaking, we're going to take a movie franchise and do each movie as a separate episode. But with the Home Alone movies, we figured we had to do the rest of them. We don't want to spend an entire episode on each episode. So we're doing this jumble episode. We're just going to throw all of the 3, 4 Home Alone Holiday Heist Home Sweet Home Alone all in one episode and just kind of get rid of this, get it off, because right now it is sitting at the top of our list. And while the first two movies are classic, the franchise as a whole has no business being up that high. Now, Brian, this is a franchise you've actually had to watch and endure through for years now. Mm-hmm. Did you rewatch this one recently, or is this one that you just went, F it, I've seen this enough times, I'm not bothering again?
No,
Did you revisit this?
So we gave ourselves 2 weeks to get through these, and I basically watched like one episode every other day and got through it. I've seen them dozens of times. My son is a huge fan of these and just watches them on repeat. He's alone in our household in his love of the Home Alone after 1 and 2. And I didn't enjoy revisiting these, and you'll hear about that from my scores.
And Will, you and I are both brand new to all 4 of these movies, right?
Correct. And I may have fallen asleep multiple times. So I'm glad we have the professional Run 7 here, the Home Alone expert on hand.
Yeah.
If I have any questions about plot or character arcs, all the real nitty gritty details of these exquisite movies.
I didn't fall asleep during any of these, but I was playing Magic the Gathering the entire time. So this was just on a second monitor. So there might have been little pieces here and there that I missed because I was reading a card or something. But you got to do what you got to do to make through these. That's not actually quite true. One of these Home Sweet Home Alone, I did watch with my daughter. She had a good time. The other 3 that I watched just with Magic on going. So starting with Home Alone 3, this is the only one of the 4 that was actually released in theaters back in 1997. This takes up a totally new kid. This is not Kevin McAllister or related to him in any way. And this movie feels like it is taking itself incredibly seriously. Like they think that this is a John Grisham movie for half of it. And in a weird way, having grown up on John Grisham movies, I kind of liked it, even though I hate, not the movie, I liked that aspect of it, even though it wasn't done well. Does that track for you guys? Do you guys, did you recognize it as kind of that, super serious spy movie that they're trying to go for? Or were you just like, this is just hot nonsense from beginning to end?
Yes. This was also the third and final movie that John Hughes wrote. So after this, the Home Alones are John Hughes free. And I believe we talked about this during Home Alone 2, probably. John Hughes wrote this script with Macaulay Culkin in mind and had to change it after Macaulay Culkin quit acting and wouldn't do the third movie. So I think this was a mix mash of all kinds of ideas that came together somehow, some way.
Yeah. John Hughes is a writer on all 4 of these movies. Now, I'm pretty sure that's just they took characters or something. I don't think it's how Michael Crichton is still a writer on the Jurassic Worlds, even though he died years ago. So I don't imagine.
Yeah, it's like a story credit just because of the world. Yeah.
Sorry, Brian. With Home Alone 3, they try to take themselves really serious. Like, these are super villain spy characters with high-tech gadgets, and they're super serious about this missile code and stuff. This isn't Marv and Harry trying to bumble their way through a trapped house anymore. These are supposed to be the next level of villain or whatever. My problem is that a lot of times when they were using their super high-tech spy gadgets, I kept going, I've got that on my phone. I've got that on my phone. Yeah, I can do that with my phone. Yeah, I can do that with my phone. A Palm Pilot? Are you kidding me? Like, it was dated, right? Like, it was dated.
97.
But even for its time, their high-tech gadgets didn't seem that necessary. Like one guy had a hard hat with a camera mounted under the thing so he could like spy. I'm like, just use a binoculars. Like you don't need a hard hat mounted, like flip down eyepiece. It was stupid. It was that was dumb to me.
I'm gonna go. Sorry, go ahead. I thought you were done.
The super high-tech thing was just too much.
Speaking of completely unnecessary, maybe I'm wrong on this, but once they found out that the person went to like suburbia, why didn't they just go door to door and be like, hey, I think I got your bag, and they got mixed up at the airport? Because that old lady would have given up that toy for her sourdough bread in a heartbeat. Like
Absolutely.
the entire movie was just completely unnecessary. Like they're going around sneaking, trying to break into homes. They're like, knock on the door. Like, hi, I heard from the airport that you might have gotten my package. I have yours. Do you want to switch back? Cool. Like nobody on that street has any idea what they've got possession of. There's no chance.
I think you can say that about almost all of these movies.
Well, true, but like at least in the first two with Harry and Marv, like they're legitimately bad people trying to do a bad thing.
Sorry, I meant post one.
I know. I'm just saying. Like,
Yeah,
we'll get into it further as we go, I'm sure. But that was just like the first thing that I hit with this movie. Like, why are they trying to be so secretive? Like, it wasn't like they're trying to break into like the naval base to get it back or something. Like, it's suburban America. I don't remember. Was it Chicago in this one? It's so different in a bunch of.
I believe it is Chicago in this one as well. I think the other biggest problem here is, Run said, these guys are professionals. They're like high-end bad guys, whatever you want to call it, thieves. And that makes it so much worse that they just fall for these stupid tricks. Whereas Marvin and Harry are just dimwits, right? So like it makes sense that they fumble and stumble through this house of tricks. This doesn't make any sense. They have more budget on their wigs alone than Marvin and Harry had in their van. Like it's just ridiculous. It made the movie so much worse that they were these high-end thieves with all their high-end gadgets, and then they're bested by this like 10-year-old kid.
Did you guys like the tricks and traps this time around?
Of all the things that I can't differentiate from movie to movie, the tricks and traps are probably number one. Like the characters, the kid, all of that, like the plot lines, I can probably tell you the differences. But as far as like which person tripped on which wire to hit which Lego where they got kicked in the face by a boot, I have no freaking idea. They all just blend together at that point, right? Like it's. I think
specifically make a note that I felt there was a lot of butt and crotch stuff going on in this movie.
Is this one where her pants split?
Yeah, pants split.
Okay.
Lots of butt hitting and crotch hitting, and I felt there was just too many guns in this movie. The bad guys all had guns. They're shooting guns off left, right, and center. Like it just took away from it. It's not as fun, family friendly as much with like the threat of real guns. And even
like everything kind of grew up in this movie except the writing. And and it didn't need to be. Like even the kid's still young and doing his kid tricks and stuff, but everything else got a little more adult themed in the worst ways. In the worst ways.
Yeah, agreed. Everybody, all the villains having guns, in a weird way, took away from the fact that they have a gun. Because in the second Home Alone, Harry has a gun and he threatens Kevin, and you don't feel threatened for Kevin. It's a kid's movie, but you know what I mean? Like you can understand why he'd be terrified in that moment. But these guys are completely incompetent. They're shooting the walls. They're not doing anything with those weapons. And it almost takes away from the threat of the gun.
Yeah.
In a weird way.
Yeah, it's not good. I don't like it.
I'll say this. Of these movies, this one had the second highest rating for acting for me. I hate child actors. The main kid didn't induce vomiting immediately. I'm not saying he was good at all. I'm just saying, everything we're going to talk about in this episode is absolute trash. It never makes it above the 50% mark for me in any category, in any movie. Spoilers. Never. Okay. So it's all trash. His was less trash than some of the other movies that we're going to talk about. That's like the highest thing I can say for this. I didn't like the traps. I can go on forever about stuff I didn't like. I don't have much I do like about this film. You
know what? I'm reading the notes because I did make like tiny notes as I was playing the game. one of which is just, what is the layout of this house? And like that just jarred my memory of some of the scenes in this where they're like falling through the deck into the basement, and you're just like, those are just floorboards. Like that was just like, there was no cement or anything. They're just in the basement after falling through those. Like, how is this house put together? At one point, they climb through a window and fall like 2 or 3 stories.
Yeah.
Which like made sense in Home Alone 2 because they specifically say the home is under renovations. But this house they're living in, what is going on with this? Like none of the
she made a comment that the house is under renovations and that the phones aren't working because of it, which doesn't really. Your phones either work or they don't, and renovations don't normally cause your phones to go on the fritz. Whatever, it's a kids movie, so they don't care. They're just making up plot loops here. But you're right. The layout of the house was really ridiculous. There's when they're in the neighborhood, I never know where they're at in the neighborhood. And why does his one window have a view of like 360 degrees around the neighborhood? Like he's driving the remote control car, which has incredible range and an endless battery and super duper speed to be jumping across the street.
That thing was sick.
Yeah. We're spending too much time on this film, guys.
Oh yeah. Okay. I just want to point out quick there, the mom in this one, we've seen before in Gremlins 2. She was very much just a Catherine O'Hara ripoff in this one, unfortunately. But she was the Billy's boss in Gremlins 2 that was kind of like trying to sleep with him or whatever. I thought she
really?
was,
okay.
Yeah. I thought she was much better in Gremlins 2.
With the accent and cigarette? Okay, yeah.
Exactly. That's the same person, yeah. So I just thought, what's her name?
Why was the dad such a doofus? What did that have to do with the movie? Why is he walking around without his pants on? And
so funny,
like his character never develops or anything. They're just having
Haviland
be a
Morris
doofus.
Is the actress. So I thought that was fun to point out that we've spoken of her in previous episodes. So that's good.
Also, mildly interesting to know they had Scarlett Johansson, a young Scarlett Johansson, on her third movie set, and did absolutely nothing with her. I got to assume they're kicking themselves on that one 20 years later. Like, we had a legit star in this.
This is one of the 4 that I fell asleep in, and I was just so happy when I woke up and saw Scarlett Johansson had sacrificed herself to save her brother. So that was very cool. Very endgame.
You guys want to rate this thing and get it out?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we're just going to go quick. We're not going to do a full breakdown on this one, right? We're just going
to. I gave this one a 21, and it is going to be the second highest rated of the 4 movies we're going to talk about today.
Wow. Okay.
That's good.
So it's worth mentioning that when we do rate these, we are rating them based off what we're anticipating. So like when you're scoring this, I'm scoring this as a kid's movie, not as something going up against The Godfather. Even with that said, I watched this by myself. I didn't watch this with my kids. I can't imagine my kids would find this very entertaining. Maybe my youngest. This is also my highest of the 4, but it's only coming in at a 38, higher than Brian's, but still nowhere close to a passing grade.
See, I'm rating this as a family film. It's got to have a little something for everybody. It definitely had nothing for me. Obviously, my oldest son loves these, but he just loves the traps. And you could just do that portion of the movie over and over and over with no plot at all, and he's been giggling himself to sleep. But I didn't like it.
I feel like this one's at least semi-competently made compared to something we're going to get to very soon. But anyway, go ahead, Will.
Fair enough. One of my favorite lines in the movie was, "You smacked my winky." And so that made this the second highest rating of the 4 we're going to go through tonight. Overall, didn't love it. 25 out of 100 for me. And I'm putting this against family movies, but more importantly, I'm putting it against Home Alone movies. And the first 2 make this look just foolish. So that's a low rank from me.
Yeah, we didn't go over our scores from the first 2, but we did mention it is at the top of our ratings currently. Like they are legit holiday classics compared to these. All right, now Home Alone 4 came out in 2002, and this is the third one of these movies I saw. I saw Home Sweet Home Alone before going back to this one. This one was a trip because I didn't realize that this was a legit not a remake, but like a recasting of the McAllister family. So like when they
continuation.
first mentioned like, oh, Kevin, I'm like, really? Why'd they name him Kevin? That's weird. And then we get I've been Home Alone before. I was like, oh, wait a second. And then the brother's name is Buzz. I'm like, oh no. What is happening here? And you realize that it is just like, it's supposed to be Kevin McAllister, but for some reason it takes place after the first two movies. But he's a younger kid.
Yes,
And they're
I
still
wrote that
living
down
in
too.
Chicago.
Yeah.
But like they're divorcing and he's marrying royalty in Chicago. None of this movie makes a freaking lick of sense.
I didn't catch that.
He's not marrying royalty, but like she knows royalty.
Yeah,
Royalty's coming to stay with them.
Yeah. I mean, they steal the royalty anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Sure. Yeah. Because like, of course, royalty is just going to go stay with a random family who needs screen checks to make sure they're safe. That sounds fun. Let's go.
This one, I felt like they just went and looked physically, like visually looked for the cutest kid they could get to play Kevin McAllister. Didn't at all screen test him for acting skills whatsoever. They're just like, hey, just slap your cheeks and give us a scream. And they're like, yeah, that's the cutest. And that's what they went with. And the kid is abysmally horrible at acting. It is so horrible to watch this. I hate that they chose him as the character. And then the people that they got to like recast Marv with that whole weird plot line and Marv's mom.
Stewart.
Right? Like, I like the guy. I don't like him playing Marv. I really wish they would have just gone with totally different names.
Yeah. That's what I didn't understand.
Just do what they did with 3. It's a whole different family, whole different place. I don't care. The premise is the same. We get it. We don't need them to be Kevin and Marv, etc.
Absolutely none of this connected to these original movies other than characters' names. I mean, at one point he's like, I'm no longer with Harry, I'm doing my own thing. Totally unnecessary. Like you could have been, Tyler and be like, I'm no longer with Kevin. That's the same thing. I'm no longer with Bob. I'm doing my own thing. I would have got just as much out of this. You know what I mean? Like it didn't at no point, like if anything, this cheapened the other movies because now I think Kevin's parents are going to get divorced, whereas they've shown them as being a happy family. Right. I'm not saying I actually care that much about the McAllister household, but it cheapens it as opposed to adding to it in any way.
What was up with the dad and the mom are supposedly going through a divorce. The dad meets somebody else after they decide to split up. So it wasn't like he was cheating. They just went their separate ways. And then they positioned the new girl to be this horrible villain, a bad person. And she wasn't. She just mothers always are. Kids. She just doesn't have kids. She's not used to it, but she's trying really hard. She's trying to buy the kids affection and doesn't understand that mentality. And that's fine. That's okay. I don't think they should have positioned her to be a bad person. And then almost like at the end, they kind of punish her, like, nah, you suck and we're all leaving you. And by the way,
and the
I
Royals
quit.
are leaving you too.
All this stuff, yeah. And it was like, what did she do wrong other than try? Like she tried. That was it.
Well, she threatened Kevin pretty hard at that one point. That's pretty late in the movie, and he did trash her house 3 times in a row.
From her perspective, she should have taken him over her knee and spanked his ass. From what she thought was happening, he got off light, right? Now, in truth, he never did anything wrong. He was protecting the house and all that. But I don't think she was out of line. I thought she finally just bucked up and said, this is my house, and if you cause me any more problems, I'm going to make life real painful for you. And I thought it was great. Every once in a while, you got to have that conversation with the step parent. You just got to find out where that line is. And I didn't think that was out of line for her to do.
For anyone who doesn't know, this is Brian's wife in the chat. And I was going to make the joke and be like, Raw, be careful with your kids. But no, she made it herself. Fantastic.
Mm-hmm. So in this movie, again, the whole recasting of the same characters is terrible. On top of that, none of them act like the characters at all. French Stewart, his Marv, was like the only likeness was the name and the toque. It was pretty much it. He didn't even try to act like Joe Pesci, and it makes sense because there's no way he's going to compare to Joe Pesci. So they
Daniel Stern.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, the other one.
Oh, so he's dressed like Harry, but he's acting like Marv?
He is Marv.
He is Marv, is who he's supposed to be. Yeah, see?
But he's got the wrong costume.
He's terrible. Yeah, it's like he's trying to be the boss in this one. That's what's so horrible.
It's
just
bad.
just stop it. Just make it new villains. And why? Why would this kid happen to line up with Marv's new plan? And like, it's such an extreme coincidence. They could have, like, if you're gonna go this route, you've got to write in a plot that makes sense why this kid is meeting up with Marv again.
Yeah.
And not
Again,
because he
just start fresh.
Yeah, just start fresh. It was a terrible idea.
So if the last movie gave us a copycat Catherine O'Hara, this was like the Wish Catherine O'Hara.
Temu.
It was so the Temu Catherine O'Hara. I'm just like so upset that they even tried. And they didn't even try, really. It was just so bad. And this is the first, I guess, straight to TV movie, right? Like you could tell from the zigzag swipes.
Yeah, what was that editing? Oh my goodness. I saw that the first time. I'm like, oh, okay. I can do that.
The cinematography in this one was so atrocious. It looked like it was filmed from somebody holding their cell phone with their hand, not even on like a gyro.
Yeah.
And like when they're decorating the tree, were you paying attention during the tree decorating scene? It's like 6 clips of them throwing stuff at the tree that never actually sticks and they just cut away. Meanwhile, the camera's just panning around and getting up in everybody's face. And oh my God, it was, yes.
I don't know if you can see that. Horrible. This is the worst looking tree. It was one of my notes.
Yeah, it was. And again, they get mad at her because she redecorates the tree. And I'm like, that tree looked like your decorations
on her side on this
ceiling
one.
And hit it. Like, it was terrible. Yeah, the cinematography in this was a joke. It was absolutely amateur hour with the lighting, everything. It was terrible. And then open door. Come on, that was stupid all around.
Oh, I love that you don't actually ever touch the doors and they just open door, close door, open door, close door throughout the whole movie. I was just like, so stupid.
Even like his bedroom, which is supposed to be this like high-tech, glorious location, just looked like it was bought for like $150. Like the whole thing just looked so cheap. The TV setup would have I would have been so nauseous after watching 2 minutes of anything, because it's not all like, it's like one big screen and then a bunch of little screens all around it, and it's not put together to be one big screen, nor is he watching 19 different things at once. It's just the same image on every television at the exact same time. You're just like, he's watching It's a Wonderful Life or something. I'm just like, why? Like, turn off 8 of those televisions.
Like, chat, when your streamer has picture in picture in picture, that Inception, that's what it made me feel like. I felt like I was watching a streamer watch himself. It was terrible.
Even that would be almost interesting, because at least you get to see that, like, how it looks all the way down the line. This is literally the exact same image.
Terrible. Everything about that house was terrible. Everything about the way the sets, the clothing design, like all the clothing on everybody looked like it was fresh off the rack. Nobody looked like they actually wore those clothes. Lots of the clothes didn't make sense or didn't match or didn't fit. I mean, it was ridiculous. Do you guys, the butler, what's
Prescott?
his name?
Eric Avari or Prescott?
Prescott. The butler was probably the highlight of this film, and that was not very good at all. I mean, they froze him in a block of ice for no reason and then served him on the dinner table, and then he dropped off and broke out, which none of that made any sense at all. Like, he'd be dead. That was a murder right there.
He also had
all gags are murders in real life.
He also had his cell phone in the wine cellar and didn't call the police, but just gave it to Kevin to call whoever he wanted.
Yeah.
That killed me. He's like, I don't have any ideas. Oh, I do have a cell phone, though. Here you go. I'm like, what the fuck? And the cell phone had battery power and could make an outside call. It's like, I tried and I couldn't reach anybody. Like, no, I got nothing. Here, call your mom. Like, what?
So bad. It was
911? No? Nothing? Okay.
This one gets a much, much worse score, even though there's not much down here at the bottom. This one's getting a much, much worse score.
All right, rate it.
All right. I gave this one a 16, and that's being pretty generous.
That's very generous.
Expensive to watch, mostly because the cinematography was so bad. At least in the previous film, they had professional filming. They tried for some different angles and stuff. They made an attempt, right? This one felt like an absolute joke. They were like, hey, we got the rights to Home Alone. Let's see if we can grab some cash as cheap as we possibly can. And they allowed us to use Kevin's name. Let's go that way for no reason. It was horrible. I hated the acting. Child actors are notoriously bad for me. This was one of the worst. I think it just kind of proves itself. Direction, script, effects, everything about this movie was really, really bad. I gave this a 16, and this isn't even the worst.
Really? That's the most surprising thing. Okay, so before I get to my score, because I'm just curious, if they have the rights to Home Alone, they can use the Kevin McAllister name. Like, I probably John Williams owns it, but like, wouldn't they have access to the soundtrack? Or is that generally a different thing? Because I was shocked that we don't hear that theme even in the opening credits. You get a tiny piece of it in one of them, which is like, oh, this is clearly reminiscent of, but it's not the theme. And it's like, that would have brought up the score a bit, because that's a good piece of music. John Williams is a master. This is trash. There was no redeeming qualities in this movie for me. The acting was horrible. The plot was horrible. The twist was incredibly foreseeable.
Yeah.
Like the logic was completely out the window. I had no fun. I got nothing out of this. Okay, you know what? That's not true. The fun I got from this was the fever dream at the very beginning, where I was like, what is going on? Why'd they name him Kevin? Why is that guy Buzz? What is that? Is this a sequel? Is this the same cast? Why is he younger? What is going on? That was it. Like, my own little, like, freaking out while doing other things is all I got out of this one. I'm going to forget this as quickly as possible. I'm never going to touch this one again. This one has my lowest R rating score yet of 8 points. This is a single-digit movie. F this movie.
Wow. Yeah.
It is bad.
Burn, baby, burn.
We're tanking this franchise.
And I liked the first two. I was the highest on both of the first two Home Alones, but this is just unwatchable nonsense.
I agree, Dan. This was maybe the worst foreshadowing to a twist ever made in TV movie history. And I say TV movie history because they're typically worse than actual movies, and this is no exception. It was just so poorly executed, and it was so hardly just over the head of like, oh, this is what's going to happen. It's not Prescott that you have to worry about. And then the mom wasn't even a big threat at all.
No.
She was like the least concerning. She's stuck in an elevator for most of it. It was just terrible. Anyway, I'm happy to close door on this movie for the rest of my life and give it a 15 out of 100. It is trash.
Now, this is Home Alone Holiday Heist. This is the second direct-to-video movie for the franchise. I think the first one is direct-to-DVD, and this one's a TV movie, if I have my facts straight on that one.
Sure.
This movie is also absolutely no good. But has a surprisingly decent cast, which the last one didn't have. The last one was a whole bunch of nobodies and French Stewart. And this one's like, how do you get Malcolm McDowell and Ed Asner in this film? Like, I don't understand. I was just blown away. Like,
let me stop you there, Dan. Not only does it have those wonderful actors, this is Clean's Canadian alert. This movie was made in Manitoba, Winnipeg, Manitoba. And this movie has a majority Canadian cast. The main characters are all Canadian.
Don't do that to Canada. Don't.
Yeah.
Don't do that to
Canada. Christian Martin, who played Finn, Canadian. Judelle Ferland, who played Alexa, his sister, Canadian. Ellie Ann Harvey, the mom, Canadian. Doug Murray, who is like a doctor, also Canadian. Bill Turnbull, the gamer, Simon, Canadian. And I'm guessing almost all of the extras in this movie would have been Canadian as well, because it was filmed in Canada and they get big tax breaks. So Clean's Canadian Corner, this is a Canadian-made film.
I'm so disappointed this is the first time we've used this graphic. That makes me so sad. I've been saving this one for like weeks waiting to bring this one out, and you just haven't touched it.
I'm not on the screen right now.
I had to show off the top and the bottom there.
American out of here, please. You guys had your Canadian fun on what's going to be the lowest rated in this franchise for me. This movie took the worst of 3 and the worst of 4 and put them together. And I thought it was just terrible. And the worst part is that they did have an uptick in the actors that played these roles, but they were given such garbage roles, such meaningless, pointless, I mean, just stupid plot design for these characters to go through that it was horrible. The child acting in this one, as bad as the previous one was, this one's just as bad, except the kid's not as cute. So it's even worse now. It was like, why did you choose as bad an actor as its predecessor, and this kid isn't even cute? Okay, there's one good thing that I can say about this, so I'll focus on the one good scene that I thought was kind of cool, which is when he is preparing the cookies and the milk, and he's doing all the baking and stuff in the kitchen, and it shows these neat little edits of him multiple times overlaid as he goes through the kitchen preparing all this stuff, so it shows different things. It was pretty well done for its time, and that was an interesting little clip right there. That is the only redeeming thing in this entire movie. Everything else was absolute trash. The cinematography was almost as bad as the previous one. Like, I just really didn't like this one. And I actually gave this a -5 points for fun. I hated having to sit through this. It was so disappointing. When the kid's sitting there talking to his gamer friend about stuff that's going on, I'm like, this is a stupid dynamic. You're literally in the middle of dealing with these bad guys, and you're taking a video game break to go talk to somebody about a fictional video game, or casting your life as a fictional video game, to get advice from some random stranger on the internet. And they did kind of lean into that joke a little bit with the police and everything raiding the gamer's house. But it wasn't funny. It didn't land. And everything about this movie, I just really hated. So I'm going to shut up now because I've got nothing good to say otherwise, and let you guys have a few minutes with this film.
I think that this is not a good movie. Straight up. It is a better made movie than the last one. Now, you can argue with the acting. You're right. The kid is not great. But what's going on in the movie feels way more relatable from I have to move to a new place that I've never been. I have to try and make friends with people, and I don't know what I'm doing. I'm in love with video games, and I don't know how to interact with the other outside world. Makes way more sense to me than a kid who is brought into a royal palace. Like, the Home Alone 4 is wish fulfillment, the movie. Like, everything in the first half of that movie is just like, this is the best it could ever possibly be. Like, okay, the parents are getting divorced. That sucks. But you know what I mean? Like, he's moving to this like palace. He's getting this ridiculous room. He's getting everything he wants. Like, it's just incredible. And this feels like more of a thing that people would actually go through. I haven't personally, but like, I could actually see that. The daughter who is, more in love with her cell phone than talking to her parents, kind of living that right now. So like, I kind of get a little bit more where this is going from a perspective. Like, you were talking about the scene in the kitchen. Sorry. Like, the editing on that was 1,000 times better than the last one with its crinkle cut screen wash. Like, it actually looked pretty good in some parts. The video game confuses the hell out of me, because at one point he says, I think he's playing on his cell phone the first time we see him, and he's like, I just beat level 17. And the next time we see him playing the exact same game, he's playing it PvP, like he's going up against this guy that he's been struggling to beat for the entire time. So it's like, I don't really know what this game is. Also, when was the last time you played a video game that had a level system? But whatever. It's clearly one of those things that was made by people who don't play video games. They're just like, video games are this. It's like, not really, but okay. As far as meeting the guy online and like being like, hey, what's your real name? Let's talk about actual situations. The three of us, but sure. Like, that is a thing that does kind of happen. So you're right. In the middle of a high-tech situation where my house is getting robbed, I'm probably not going to call Will up and be like, hey, dude, my house is getting robbed right now. What should I do?
You're calling Run, aren't you? You son of a bitch.
He knows guns. Yes, I'm calling Run. What do?
I'm the American. I can stop an intruder. You guys will ask if he wants the cookies.
But if you've got a mold problem, you'll call me.
Yeah,
That's
there you
right.
go.
That's
What do I
right.
do with this raccoon in my house, please, sir? So I didn't love this movie, but it was far more, I don't want to say entertaining. It was better. It was more competently made than the last one. It's still not getting a good score. This is the second lowest of the franchise for me.
I agree with Dan a little bit on this one. I feel like it was a better made movie overall. Maybe it's just because it was made later and the ability to do things was easier, so it just came across as better. And you said the only good thing was that one cut scene. I thought the drunken boss was good throughout. Good
The drunken-
news.
Oh
Yo,
yeah. Okay, yeah.
We're only going to be here 3 or 4 days.
He was all right. I didn't like the tricks and traps for sure. They looked terrible. There were all these special effects for snowballs and marbles
Oh, yeah,
flying
yeah.
at things. The makeup and costumes on the characters looked really terrible. All the tricks and traps seemed tired and old. I mean, not that they didn't in the last 2 movies, but they were just really thoughtless kind of stuff. Like, hey, let's eat a disgusting cookie and drink glue. Like, it was,
Yeah.
I don't know. It had no style or class. And and again, we had these villains who were supposed to be maybe not top-notch villains, but you got this really like rich, wealthy, smart guy who's putting together a crack team. And we end up with like a bunch of doofuses and people who have relationship problems.
Yeah.
And they don't even seem that motivated to go through with this issue. Like the one girl, she keeps getting distracted by her boyfriend on the phone and stuff. I didn't have
The other
any
guy's just
fun-
scared of ghosts.
Yeah, he's scared of ghosts.
Well,
I just
and
had
how much-
no fun with this movie, and I think that was a problem. It was maybe it was because I just watched so much trash, and I'm just sitting here watching it again.
And you'll watch it again in the future, you poor bastard.
You're the only one that will. My kids don't know these exist.
Yeah. Lucky you. Lucky you. My kid's
I
probably in there watching it right now.
Yeah. Like, how much time did he spend on baking those like milk and cookies that essentially had no effect? Like the guy's just like, ew, that's gross, and moved on with his life. Like,
And spit them out. Yeah.
yeah, like,
And, like,
okay.
Like why?
And
do
how
all the
clairvoyant
traps
do you have to be to know that he's going to eat them at all?
All the traps had to be themed. Like you ended up having a reindeer and Santa Claus and a guy that was gift wrapped. Did you notice that? Like,
No.
okay. Well,
I'm sorry.
yeah, she had hair and a red nose, and then
Yep.
the other guy, the cookies, he ends up getting a beard like Santa Claus, and then the mastermind of it all, he gets wrapped up like a present and pushed down the stairs or something. And
Nope, that all checks out.
What are you? I don't even know why you're doing that, but it wasn't obviously, since some of you guys didn't get it, it wasn't very well executed.
Top marks for holiday picture.
I also was only half paying attention. Let's be honest. I was.
Everything here just felt tired. Okay, I guess there was one other thing. He goes to do the aftershave on his face, and he goes and walks away. I was like, okay, hey, all right. They're throwing a nod to its predecessor and going their own way with something unique. All right. Yeah. It was dumb. It was terribly, done, but it was something new. And that was the only new thing they really had to this, other than the family moving into like a haunted house kind of thing. And none of it jived. I'm just
going to address Windstorm in the chat for 1 second, because we didn't really talk about the point of this movie, why it's called Holiday Heist. So I just want to, who cares? But also, the villains, the head villain, his great-great-grandmother was the one in the painting. So he's trying to get his Mima back or something. He's telling the other people he's going to sell it, and they're all going to make millions of dollars. So the house belongs to a rum runner back in Prohibition. The safe is still in the basement. So he wants to break into the house, break into the safe. That's why he needs a crew, steal the painting back. And it's worth millions and millions of dollars, except he just wants it because it's a picture of his great-great-grandmother or something like that. So that's where the name Holiday Heist comes in. That's why he's after this painting specifically. Does that make it better? Not really, but at least it's more coherent than just like a random...
And you asked in the previous one, why didn't they just go knock on the door and be like, hey, can we exchange our bag? Like, why can't this guy go view the house? Or, I don't know, he's super rich, right? Freaking buy it. This family from Chicago is able to pick it up on the cheap.
They don't know what it is. I'll give you $10,000 for this painting. Oh, sure. Fuck yeah. Here you go.
Yeah.
They got hospital tickets in the end.
Go there with your crew
or
or whatever and have the realtor distracted while your safe guy goes and cracks the safe downstairs. Like, that seems way easier than waiting for the house to be purchased and go and break into it when there's people there.
Admittedly, they tried to get to it before the house was purchased. They do mention that, but yeah.
Oh, did he?
The other thing is, like, it's obviously locked away in this super secret hidden room. What are the chances this family's ever going to find that room if they're not outright looking? It's like crazy.
Or ever get into the safe.
Just wait till they go on vacation and just go in there. Like, you got time. It's not going anywhere.
And the thing is, like throughout 3, and then it gets worse in 4, and then this one's really bad with the plot, how they do things and stuff. We're gonna see that if you just take the time to write a decent script, you can do a Home Alone movie and make it a little bit better. And we'll see that in this next one, which is of these 4 my favorite.
We'll
But
see
this
about
one,
that.
this one for me, because it was so painful to watch and everything just kind of upset me, and it felt like they were taking some of the worst stuff from the previous films and doing it even worse. This one got a total score of a 9 for me.
Oh,
there
we're
we go.
back in the single digits.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice.
I really didn't. This one was the one that I mean, don't get me wrong. 16 and 9 are very close at the very bottom of a 100-point scale. You know, they're both real trash, but this one slightly made me more offended than its predecessor.
Well, I'm so happy us Canadians could offend you so.
Yeah,
we
it's
do.
a fully made Canadian film. It gets the worst score.
Yeah. Good.
I've already said pretty much everything I'm going to say about this one. I thought it was better made, not better, certainly not good, but at least there was some production quality in this one, whereas the last one just felt offensive to watch at all. Like it was just hard getting through. This is the low point in the series for me. No, sorry. This is the second lowest point in the series for me, though, at a mere 22 points.
Oh, damn.
What
Way
about
too
you, Will?
generous.
We did
Way
it
too
again,
generous.
Dan. We did it again.
Oh no.
I agree. This movie's trash. I did like the mom yelling, "I will end you" to the gamer because of that conversation was kind of funny. That was probably the high point of the movie for me, aside from the drunken boss. I think that was this movie. It's hard to keep them.
Ed Asner, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would be remiss not to mention that this movie and the previous one, they're actually not Home Alone. That there's people with them.
Yeah.
in
They
both of those
couldn't
movies.
get the kid far enough away. They're just like, yeah, we're home alone for like 3 hours.
Well, even
Mhm.
this one, his sister's with him the whole time, and Prescott's with the other kid the whole time. And like, they're not home alone at all.
Oh, that's
They're
fair.
never at home alone in
That's
these
fair.
movies. So the title alone is misleading. So that makes sense why these are the worst of the Home Alones, in my opinion. But I also rated this one 22. I thought it was a superior movie to Home Alone, whatever,
4.
taking back the house trash.
Yeah.
Because it was just such a blatant just misconduct to all the Home Alone name and everything good about those movies. They just
Chat,
flushed it down the
YouTube,
toilet.
we need to talk here. This is clearly Canadian bias. That's all it is. It's just Canadian bias that's happening right here. This is clearly a single-digit scoring movie, but these Canadians just can't tank a movie that was made in their
dude,
country.
it's Tank. 22 is still horrible.
That's all it is. Canadian biased.
And you said like this kid actor. I preferred this kid actor for acting than the other kid actor for acting.
No, I actually don't. I think this one was.
They're both bad. Don't get me wrong.
I really think that they were equally bad. It's just this one wasn't as cute. That was it for me. I really, whenever he opens his mouth to talk to anyone, it sounds like someone just read him the line and he's repeating it for the camera. That's what it always sounds like to me.
Yeah, but to me, the other one was like so overacting. That was like, oh, you're supposed to be like scared that Natalie's talking to you right now. And so he's like,
yeah.
I was like, what is
That
happening?
wasn't bad. Actually, that was pretty good.
Anyway, they're bad movies. Don't watch them. Don't watch any of these movies. All right, let's get to the last one.
We are now on to Home Sweet Home Alone.
Yes, this is is it 2021, I want to say?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So this is the 2021 straight to Disney Plus movie. I consider straight to Disney Plus a much higher honor than being straight to DVD or a TV movie. So this is the closest to an actual like legit sequel that we've ever had. Well, since 3, I guess. The production on this one goes way up.
Yes.
The actual film for me didn't. And Run, you said you really liked this one, so I'm curious to go to you first.
Liked is a very
No. Sorry.
We're
I get the impression. Sorry, not liked. But of these 4, I get the impression this might be your highest. Is that accurate?
Yes. So of these 4, this one hit way higher on the fun scale for me. I did have some fun watching it. I don't think it's a quality film. I don't think it's well made. I don't think it's well produced, directed, acting, script, dialogue. It's all trash, but it comes together a little bit better as a whole. It has its own unique flavor. They say, hey, we've got this idea that we want somebody to break into a house where there's a kid who's home alone and he defends himself. And we want it to be funny. And then they came up with its own unique script and reason for all this stuff. As outlandish as the script may be, at least it's unique and it sort of kind of makes sense and gives reason for why things happen. Stupid? Yes, absolutely. But at least this one didn't try to just ride on the laurels of everything that came before it. They just wanted to have a kid who's home alone and defends his house and try and make it funny. And I think that they achieved that to a very minor degree in this. Dan, what was the things that held you back on this one?
I think the production of this one was way up there. I think they've got a lot of actors who I'd say that I enjoy. Not even necessarily ones you can be like, oh, I know their name. Like, I had to look up the names for a lot of these people. But like, I really like Pete Holmes' comedy. He didn't have anything to do in this one, but I like him as a comedian. Ellie Kemper was, I believe, the Kimmy Schmidt, but was also on The Office. I think she's very good. I wouldn't have known his name, but Kenan Thompson, the real estate agent, he's been in some funny movies. Like, there are decent people. Even Archie Yates, the main character, is in Jojo Rabbit, which is a phenomenal movie if you've never seen it. He's a small part in that one, but it's still, he can be good. I just don't think any of them were given anything all that great to do in this one. Like, you got a lot of production quality, you got a lot of great actors. Nobody brought the funny in this one. Like, even the scene Will was talking about in the last movie, where the mom is talking to the gamer, got a chuckle out of me. I don't think I got a single chuckle out of this entire movie. And the Home Alone was kind of done a little bit dirty in this one because you care about the robbers. I like the robbers more than I like the stupid little kid. Like, I didn't want him to succeed. Like, in Home Alone, Marv and Harry are not a legitimate threat because it's a kid's movie, you know what I mean? But like, you don't like them because not only are they stealing all of your prized possessions, they're also doing property damage to your home. Like, legitimately F those guys. Whereas in this movie, the little kid is the one doing the property damage to his own home. And the people trying to break in are just like, hey, you stole something from us. We just want it back because we don't want to have to sell the house our kids live in. Maybe it's because I'm an adult, but I was 100% on the parents' side on this one. And I kind of wanted, like, not hurt the little kid, but just like get the doll and get out of there. And like, I agree. I was 100%.
I was on the side of that kid. I didn't want to hurt the burglars on this one, and I think that's cool. I think that's cool that they flipped the script on us, and you're kind of rooting for the burglars this time. They are bungling idiots, though. I mean, they really are. They make stupid choices left and right. They don't come off as very intelligent people. They're just trying. And that is what makes it. We go back to Harry and Marv, how they're bungling idiots. And it makes sense that they keep getting fooled by these stupid tricks. And so that made it worked. It made it kind of work again. And I'm like, okay, this is getting back into the original stuff in that sense. But you're right, Dan. But you root for the burglars in this one and not necessarily the kid. Not that you hate the kid. But the parents had the burglars have a real reason.
A little bit, I hated that kid. The problem is I don't want to see them get hurt. Like, I want Marv to take another brick to the face because not only is Daniel Stern brilliant in that scene, like in Home Alone 2, great scene, still funny. Not only is he brilliant in that, but I legitimately don't like him. You do kind of love to hate them, but you know what I mean? Like, you don't like them as people. Whereas I want these adults to succeed. And so when they're taking like pool balls to the face, I'm not laughing. I'm just like, oh, like, you know what I mean? Like it.
Well, I didn't laugh at any of it either, but I felt it entertaining.
I don't know. I just thought that kind of damaged not the brand. I don't know how I'm trying to word this. I thought it was anti the point to like the villains.
Oh, or I see what you're saying. Villains. I liked the flip on it.
I'm probably the last person, and I always hate when people say, oh, they Disney-fied it. You know, oh, they Disney-fied Marvel, so it's all going to be, you know, hugs and kisses in these movies or whatnot. This movie is Disney-fied. There's no bad guys in this movie.
No.
It's just a miscommunication and a misunderstanding that goes awry and goes into antics of Home Alone-ish like quality. To me, the problem is the kid's not likable. He's a little twerp at the beginning, kind of like Kevin is in the beginning of Home Alone, but he doesn't ever really redeem himself. Just at the end of the movie,
No, there's no. Yeah, you're right.
He's just like, oh, I destroyed my house. My mom's gonna be so upset. And then you're home alone. It's the mom you care about. The mom shows compassion and concern and all the good things. The parents are the protagonists of this movie. The kid is the antagonist, and you don't ever turn on that kid ever in this movie. And that's why it doesn't work to the same degree as having likable idiots burglarizing a likable kid. This has likable burglars because they're just good people and a terrible kid. And so it just doesn't quite add up the same way to me.
I wish they would have made the kid more likable. I wish they would have given him a better reason so that I wanted to go in not knowing who to root for because you like everybody, but you're right. The kid you don't care for, and you're wanting the adults to finally get in there and then realize, oh, hey, it's just a kid who's home alone. And they do, and that happens. But the kid never really changes. He never has the character arc change that you're looking for. That brings this score way down for me, or this could have been a much, much better film.
Yeah. In the Home Alone, the first two Home Alones, Kevin always has that moment where like there's something he's afraid of and he overcomes it. Or like the neighbor that he doesn't like, that he finds out like, oh, you're actually a good person
in the driveway.
Right. Like you're actually a decent person. And he kind of has that like grows up as a person moment. And in this one, like you see whatever this little kid's name is, like he's stealing from the church essentially, right? Like he goes to the toy drive and he's like, can I get a shopping cart for all this? And like, he never gets better from that. Like he just is that kid the entire movie. And then at the very end, like you said, the Disney movie, there's no villains in this. All of the people are just like, hey, we're best friends now. Like, I'm sorry. The mom who was in Japan is probably suing the shit out of you now that she knows you've got a $200,000 paycheck to like, hey, fix my home. And you're probably still losing your home.
It was like, just a misunderstanding.
We got a new chandelier. What about the rest of your home? Like that house is trashed. It was so weird to me that they're just like, oh, you left your kid alone. So we brought him to our house. And she's just like, oh, thanks. Like, really? I don't know how I'd feel about that if strangers just picked my daughter up and took her home.
What, Clean, what did you think about the booby traps that the kid sets up for them?
I didn't love them. I like you said about the previous, I thought there was way too much like special effects CGI, like with the bottles flying around and things happening. I was like, it's fun that they kind of like updated because of Mentos and Coke bottles is like an updated thing. So that was interesting, but I just didn't like the overuses of CGI to accomplish it. And to be fair, I only took one note on this movie. I fell asleep. The kid seemed unlikable throughout. That's the only thing I wrote. So obviously the traps weren't that memorable to me.
I didn't like the CG. These traps were not supposed to be complicated. Throughout any of these films, the traps are not supposed to be complicated. They're supposed to be something a kid should be able to put together. In 3, we see him driving like a tractor with a folded up trampoline on the back, and you're like, okay, that's ridiculous. You know, we've got super sophisticated houses. We've got baking going on in the next, and then in this one, it kind of got back to some of the old school stuff, and that's why they really didn't need special effects to pull it off. I did like that they went back to old school tricks where they're breaking into a house, but they weren't all that clever or new. It was a lot of the actors falling down and getting hurt, and I think that they tried really hard to make that funny, but it just isn't that funny at this point, and they should have given them more dialogue and lines for these better, these funny actors to pull off better dialogue and humor through that, and give the adults something to laugh about in the show.
Yeah, and there's a lot of funny people in this movie. They definitely could have done that.
Yeah, they didn't utilize them.
No, this is the only one I watched with my daughter. I think she laughed once, so like it didn't even hit the mark as a kids movie. And that to me is the actual sin of this. Like, if I don't like it, that's fine. It's not made for me. You're right. It's a family movie. But if my kids are having a good time, I'm going to have a good time. But if I'm watching this with my kid and she's not even having a good time, what am I going to get out of this? And the answer is very little. unfortunately, because I thought this would be the high point for sure.
So you want to score it?
Let's score it.
Let's go, Dan. You first.
All right. My score actually went up a tiny little bit while we were talking about it, to be honest. I don't know how much I have more to say about this one. The production quality is probably the highest on this one out of any of the these four movies that we've discussed. The acting, the actors I know are capable of more than they were given to do in this one. The traps, I honestly can't remember many of them. Like, I think he took Nerf bullets and put like spikes on the front of them, and he shot people with billiards, but I don't know. I think that there was a huge misstep to make everybody quote unquote likable in this movie. I think it's good to have a villain that you are rooting against, even if it's like the Wet Bandits, where it is a lovable villain. You still want to see them fail. And in this one, you kind of want to watch everybody succeed. And the closest thing to a villain is kind of like the sister-in-law being like bratty about her little kid. And it's like, I don't care enough about them. There is no character arc or growth for the kids or the adults. Like, everybody just kind of feels like the same people at the end of the movie they were at the beginning of the movie. It just didn't do that much for me. And most of the points I'm giving this are from a production standpoint. This got a 36 for me. And that's probably pretty high.
That's pretty high.
That actually came in higher than me. I felt that this movie got most of its points because it tried an original script with just putting a kid who's home alone. And I think that had they come to this point where the adults breaking into the house were about to do something that they couldn't come back from, and the kid realizes that they are just trying to save their own household, and he has to run and untrap the house or something, or stop them from going in, and now you're rooting for the adults to not get caught in the trap, and you're rooting for the kid to save them from his own traps or something, and you have that character arc of the kid, and you can kind of like him at the end. Then this movie would have scored a lot higher for me. That didn't happen. The kid was just a brat and a snob the whole way through. But I did enjoy the traps. I had a little bit of fun with it. It felt a little bit closer to 1 and 2 in that. And we had actors that I thought had the possibility of being funny and entertaining, though they weren't utilized. This one comes in at a 32 for me. And that's as generous as I can possibly get with any of these four movies. Most of those points are because it had something new and different in this original idea of, we now like the burglars and are rooting for the burglars. It didn't play out well by the end, but I like that they tried something new with this, and it could have been better had a different script panned out at the end.
Yeah, that's actually sorry. You reminded me of another one of my points for this movie. I'm not going to change my score at all, but just a question. In the original first two Home Alones, Kevin McAllister is treated like garbage by his siblings and the people in his household. And you understand why he's like, I want to be alone. And he's alone for a while before he starts being like, I kind of miss my mom at the holidays. Mm-hmm. In this movie, like, his cousins don't want to share with him. And like, his mom's on the phone trying to figure out the airline. Like, even his family isn't jackassy or rude. You know what I mean? Like, even his family aren't villains. Like, literally everybody in this movie is, if not likable, not hateable. So even his motivation to be like, oh, I wish I was all alone, is kind of like, I've dealt with worse than that. Like, that's fine. Like, nobody's actively going out of their way to bother you. Anyways, sorry, that was just a weird thought. Go ahead, Will.
Yeah, I agree with Run on the fact that this is like the most well thought out original story that fits within a Home Alone title. It's a different aspect, a different way of looking at getting a character home alone and how it's dealt with. And for the originality of that, I enjoyed it. I just didn't like the kid all that much. But aside from that, production value was fine. Acting was fine. Could they have gotten more? Always. Could. And I still think the editing in the first two movies is just so far superior in physical comedy editing than any of these movies put together. And it's just a shame that there's nobody around to fix that, because it could really bring all of these movies up. But aside from that, this movie actually ranked the same for me as Home Alone 3 at a 25 out of 100, just because of the originality and a different way to look at the story and getting that kid home alone and how it's dealt with. It just didn't end well.
Wasn't
for
how
me.
they got the kid home alone the exact same as the first two movies?
No, I guess just like how it's a different story. Like,
Okay.
in its at its core, right? It's about the two burglars. It's not about the kid at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I like that, the kind of the flip on the head.
I really thought that I just didn't like this kid because it was another child actor. But as you guys talk about him and hate him so much, I'm like, okay, my disgust for this character was warranted.
Yeah, actually,
So-
I think the kid actor was fine.
Yeah,
He
as an
just
actor,
appeared-
he was fine. I didn't like
Yeah.
the character that
It's just
they
his
gave him
character
to
is
play.
trash. Yeah.
He needed
Yeah.
to develop,
Agreed.
is what it was.
Mhm.
Yeah, opportunity missed with Home Sweet Home Alone.
Are we good here? Yes. Okay. So it is on the board. Brian mentioned ahead of time that it was his goal to tank this franchise. Brian, do you think you successfully did that?
Honestly, you guys threw out some really low scores on a lot of these as well. I think it's a group effort that we're going to bring it down. My hopes is to bring it beneath Highlander. That is my hopes.
It's a tall order, but
Do
you might
you-
be
Because
you
I
might
do
be
think that
close.
Highlander is a better franchise than the Home Alone franchise. Home Alone has two
Is it?
Carrie movies, and the rest are such horrible trash. Whereas Highlander has one Carrie movie, and then they really go down pretty quick. But
Yeah, I
I
don't
wouldn't
know.
call them immediately the most trashy of trash.
Well,
Oof, that's debatable. I think,
it'll be
on
interesting.
either
What
end.
do you think, Brian? Or sorry, Will? Do you think we successfully tanked this franchise?
I don't think we're below Highlander. I think it's probably going to be the second lowest. That'd be
Oh my gosh!
You are correct. We could not successfully tank the franchise, which is I think legitimately a good thing,
It's
because
two
as
good
much
movies.
as
Two
much
good
as the four movies are awful, those first two are legit classics.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah, they are. They are. I didn't realize that Highlander is coming in so incredibly low. Wow.
Oh god, the numbers were
Yeah.
bad on that one. Highlander
a
was our
lot of-
second episode. I don't know if maybe we were a little too harsh right outside the gate, but yeah, it's going to be hard to beat Highlander, to be
I think-
perfectly honest.
I remember when we watched Highlander that the first movie is not as good as we all remembered it or wanted
Yeah.
it to be. And so its Carrie movie just doesn't have the weight of two heavy hitting Home Alone films
Yeah.
that did quite well.
The problem is there's other great action movies in the 80s that just trump Highlander.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas
and we
Home
did it
Alone
right
is
after-
a classic Christmas family holiday movie that has stood the test of time. Two
Mhm.
of them, right?
Yeah.
So there's just no comparison.
We did it right after Mad Max, right? Like it's a hard comparison to go again Fury Road
Oh,
to Highlander, right? Like, and you guys love Fury Road more than I do, but even I am
Yeah.
like, this is a quality film. To go from that to There Can Be Only One, where you've got like a Scotsman playing a Frenchman from Egypt or some such nonsense, you're like, the fuck is going on? I don't get this.
I am a little sad that Home Alone is under Anchorman, but it makes sense with the four complete trash movies. It's just a numbers game at that point.
Yeah, I was surprised too. I did see it at first. I was like, oh, good, it beat Anchorman, and then I actually did it. I was like, oh no, it just barely missed out on that one, unfortunately. But so this is as much of a list as we're going to be able to get on one page. From here on out, we're going to have to start making a second page, and we haven't really discussed what the next franchise is going to be. I have a thought, or I was thinking of something on the drive home. Actually, I guess we should finish this episode, and then we can discuss that. So
Okay.
Sure, do whatever you
let's
want.
Stop sharing. Any final thoughts on Home Alone? I have one again from one of the movies that I forgot about. In Home Alone Holiday Heist. Sorry, I'm just curious. I don't know.
Let it
So I'm
die.
just throwing it to
No,
you
go
guys.
ahead.
In Holiday Heist, the police come, arrest the burglars, and take the painting away. And then they get they're like, oh, that painting was worth $85 million, and we got letters to a thing. If you buy a house and something is inside that house, do you not own the thing inside the house? Like, it wasn't like it was they stole something, put it in the house, and then bought the house. Like, it was in the home at the time they purchased it. Like,
Yeah.
if somebody leaves a couch, do you not own that couch now?
I think it depends if it was a priorly stolen item. I don't know if they clarified.
But I don't think it was. I thought it belonged to The
No,
previous
in
owner.
the paperwork of when you purchase a house, at least here in the States, when you purchase a house, it lists all of the appliances and items of any serious value that are in there, and it very clearly outlines what is being purchased in that house. And so a painting of $85 million is probably going to make its way to that list. And if it's not included on the list, I think there's a legal claim to someone saying, no, that wasn't part of this sale. But I'm not a lawyer. I don't know. But I just think that there's grounds for it to be taken out of that and say, no, this is a piece of art or it belongs to somebody else.
That's totally fair. That was one of those things I wasn't sure about. I know when we bought this house, the previous owner left some stuff and we're just like, thanks. He didn't leave an $85 million painting, I'll tell you that.
No, they left a whole bunch of paint, your problem now. Not a painting.
Right, exactly. Like, we got a couch and a freezer that didn't work. It's like, thank you so much. Appreciate that. All right, and that is our rating of the final 4 Home Alone movies. We did get the franchise up a little lower than I was hoping it would be, to be perfectly honest, but at least it's not at the very top with that asterisk, so we can say that we are done it. What do you guys think? Were we way too harsh on this franchise? Is this a franchise that you really love? Or are you thinking we probably should have gone a little harder on these, because some of these are
this franchise is trash.
I'm not even going to argue with that. Anyways, if you enjoyed this, make sure you head over to twitch.tv/The Mongoolie Show so you can watch it live, or hit the like and subscribe button if you made it this far in the video. You probably enjoyed it. I promise you next week we'll talk about something significantly better, even though I don't currently know what that's going to be. Have a good night, everybody.